casualties in the terrorist ranks as the Syrian army units crack down on them and their positions in various areas across the country. And Russian Foreign Ministry says since the beginning of the crisis in Syria, Russia has warned against the danger of the Western assistance offered to extremists. And Iraqi warplanes target ISIS in several areas, inflicting heavy losses upon them. Good afternoon, this is news in English from the Syrian television in Damascus. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Gennady Gatilov said in an interview with RIA Novosti news agency that since the beginning of the crisis in Syria, Russia has warned against the danger of the Western countries' assistance offered to extremists. He added Russia had warned of helping the extremists in Syria, but the Western partners were not interested except in achieving one goal represented by toppling the government. Gatilov asserted that the European countries have become aware that the so-called the Islamic State in Iraq and the Sham, ISIS, and the extremists pose a threat to the whole region. He went on to say that the United Nations Special Envoy to Syria will submit a plan to launch dialogue among different sides in the country. He said that Mistura, the United Nations envoy, is still preparing his agenda and needs more talks with the Syrian government and the opposition, in addition to other important players, to present his vision to solve the problem. The Syrian Arab Army continues advancement in Jobar district from several directions. In tightening grip on the terrorists stationed there, the operation resulted in the killing of scores of terrorists in Jisrin and Ain Tarma in Eastern Ghouta. In the same context, in Damascus countryside, army units continue their operations against terrorist gatherings in the area, in the direction of the areas of Zabdin and Hutayt al-Jirish, and expand their grip in the Eastern Ghouta, killing scores of terrorists. To the south of the country, in Quneitra countryside, army units eliminated scores of terrorists and wounded others in al-Qahtaniya, Batna, al-Samadaniya, and Mashra'. And to the north, in Idlib, army units destroyed weapons and an ammunition cache for terrorists and a number of cars equipped with heavy machine guns which the terrorists were using in the surrounding of Syria town in Jabal al-Zawiya in the countryside of Idlib province, leaving many of the terrorists dead. Among them, leaders in Jabhat al-Nusra terrorist organization. In central Syria, units of the armed forces foiled terrorist attempts to attack several military posts in the countrysides of Homs and Hama, killing many of them and destroying their weapons. A military source said that army units repelled terrorists who attempted to attack a military post in Talbise in the countryside of Homs, leaving a number of them dead and wounded. Another army unit confronted terrorists who were trying to infiltrate from Jisr al-Kharab towards al-Wa'ar farms in the countryside of the city, killing many of them and destroying their weapons. And in Aleppo, the Syrian army units targeted terrorist gatherings and hideouts in Manbij, Deir Hafir, Ahris, Kilka, and the east of Khanasir, Sheikh Ahmad al-Haydariya, Sulaiman al-Halabi, and Benyamin areas in Aleppo city and its countryside, killing a number of them, injuring others, in addition to destroying some of their weapons. Other army units destroyed 6 cars loaded with ammunition in Kafr Hamra, Deir Hafir, al-Jandul, and the Rashidin areas, killing a big number of terrorists and injuring others. In regional news and in Iraq, Iraqi warplanes targeted ISIS hideouts in several areas. Iraqi Ministry of Defense said that Iraqi warplanes destroyed a number of missile bases for the terrorist organization in the area of Al-Karma, Al-Fallujah and the surroundings of Al-Mosul. Iraqi warplanes also raided terrorist positions in Amirali near Tusharmato, killing 2 terrorist leaders. In Iraq also, Iraqi warplanes targeted the terrorist organization. A United States Senator Ted Cruz called for withdrawing the American nationality from the Americans who joined the so-called organization of the Islamic State in Iraq and the Sham. He said that he would submit a legislation that bans terrorists from returning to the U.S. next Monday. And in France, the French President François Hollande, who have been talking for the last few days about his country's support to the terrorist organizations in Syria, witnessed a decline in his popularity more than any French president since the Second World War, especially after his former partner, Valéry Tédavillard, published a book which talked about the details of his life in the Élysée Palace. Valéry talked in that book about her relationship with Hollande when he was still the minister of Ségolène Royal, who is the mother of his 4 children and who she collapsed when she knew about his betrayal with actress Julie Gaillard and left the Élysée afterwards. She also talked about the fact that he belittles the poor and described them as toothless, which contradicted what he presented in the 2012 elections as a man who hates the rich and defends the poor. The book also pointed out to 9 years of jealousy and power in the world of politics. This book led to the decline of his popularity of Hollande to 13%, according to surveys made by Swarfas Institute and published in the Le Figaro newspaper. These failures are affecting his political life, especially what's related to his last statement about supporting the terrorist organization in Syria with weapons, a matter which makes his country a partner in shedding the Syrian blood. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin, again, you can always visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. Now, the latest business and market news with Nariman, but after a short break.